G'day guys, I'm out on safari with Territory Lodge. As you can see behind me, we're having a fantastic time. If you'd like to see how the week unfolds, stick around. We're just cruising out to a spot called Buff Flats, so that sounds likely this morning. I wonder what we'll find there. The feed levels are pretty long. It's only just been underwater this area, so it's drying out, which is good, but there's a lot of feed, so fingers crossed. We're just driving through this big clearing and there's a natural spring flow that runs through it surprisingly quickly. It's very soft in there. We put the max tracks down to bring the Polaris over just to not knock the machine around. We are finding animals out in here. We've seen quite a few buffalo bulls, but nothing massive yet. So we're headed to the honey hole. Fingers crossed. We're just circling this billabong at the moment. There's a fair bit of sign in here. We saw some cow buffalo coming in and some wild horses, but I think Bucket wants me to go in there for a swim. I've advised him that that's a bloody terrible idea because it's full of those big lizard things, so yeah, I'm staying away from the bank. Got another waterhole up here. We've just seen a big tall boar out of the buggy. We'll go and see if he's still up here on foot.
Blue one? No.
That's a fair lump of a pig, that fella. A couple out behind it as well. They must have been down on the water.
Oh, look at the pigs behind it.
Lots of trees.
That is on. Yeah, drop.
We've walked down that side of the waterhole with the wind up our arse. We've come over to the other side and we're going the opposite direction. And guess what? The wind's up our arse again. So I think the animal libertarian party or something's blowing or some weird shit up here today, but it's been very frustrating indeed. that video will pick up the bubbles out in there, but we've come up into the head of this little gully system and it's a hot spring. It's natural, it's very, very warm water. It's probably close to 40 odd degrees in there. It's very pretty, but be full of crocodiles. We've just come in on this billabong. Off to the side of it we've seen a really good bull, so just putting a little bit of a stalk in down on the edge of a bit of a swampy area. I'd say he's been wallowing, so fingers crossed we can get in because he looked alright. He's cooked. Check this guy out. Absolutely stoked. He's a much bigger animal than we thought when we first saw him. So yeah, running a Seiko 85 in 9.3 by 62. Not the smallest of rifles. There's a little bit of scale. So yeah, they're certainly a very big animal, to say the least. They're hard to put down, but yeah, Norm around, smashed him. We've got TC, the pet food man, out here with us this afternoon, so none of this animal will go to waste. I might show a few images of that process, but as usual, I'll have to be very cautious with the graphic content. But yeah, absolutely stoked. Have a look at this. That is the 9.3 by 62 Norma projectile that we've recovered from the offside of that big water buffalo. Now, we've only got access to kitchen scales within a gram. In grains, this is a 285 grain projectile, which is about 18.4 grams. On that scale, this thing weighs 18. So whether it's rounding down a little bit to 18, but there is no doubt about the performance from that projectile to recover it, and it still have that much retained weight after hitting such a big animal. It's pretty cool. I'm absolutely flogging my drone up here. It's very, very handy to scout around for animals and also paths through in the vehicle. So up ahead of us here on a bit of a fence line, swampy area, we've found quite a few pigs up there. So we'll go for a little bit of a walk, see if we can get on them. It's also finding us lots of crocodiles, which I'm getting some really cool video footage of, but it also tells you to not go in the water. One particular crocodile was right on the edge of where we saw a bunch of pigs, so they definitely know where they need to be to get a feed. So it's very interesting to observe, but I'd rather not be too close in there.
Nice shooting, mate. Well done. Nathan, left, there. Big ball to the left. You're gonna hate me.
Why?
I scratched my nose just as you fired the first shot. So I missed that first shot, sorry.
That's all right.
Go right, go right, go right, go right, right. Back to your left.
Austin.
Yep.
Lost him.
Yep. How was that?
Buffalo's still there. That little Tika, 308, it was running hot. There's 6 just there, 3 on that side of the fence, a couple across there. Really good boar in there, but all of this shiny ground in front of us is very, very muddy. Yep, it's wet. There's a little bit of the result. Now, I know we do the whole googly eye thing. That is well beyond googly eye. There's another one of those pigs out on this little plain in here. They're all down in that grass there. Out the back there, there's water buffalo, big bull. Doesn't even care. You'd think after 20 rounds it'd figure out somewhere better to be, but nope. Care factor 0.
Hey, Nathan's another one over there.
Yeah, look at him.
This is unbelievable, eh?
There's just animals coming out of this cane grass absolutely everywhere.
Hearing protection, good to see.
Yeah, well, this thing's a bit loud, so. I'm going to let him walk right into here, unless he stops to feed. I'll tell you when I'm going to shoot.
That would be awesome.
Come right in. Have you got your finger in your ear?
Yeah, mate, I'm right to go.
Okay. I'll start a little bit of footage here. That star picket there has been pulled out of the ground. The next one is in the ground. If you see that next one up there is on a big angle. That's what water buffalo do to get through the fences there. They just push through the wire because their skin's about 40 mil thick and they can't feel it. It's like a scratch with fingernails for us. Or they put their horns down underneath the barbed wire and lift it up and they pop all of these star pickets out. There's more down there. That's why the pastoralists hate water buffaloes uncontrolled in a lot of these areas, because they put cattle in here. Cause a hell of a lot of problems. Back at the trusty steed. Load up and we shall continue for a little while anyway. these pigs are having a bad time of it out here tonight. We've found ourselves some bush tucker out here, some rosella plant, so I've been told. That might be wrong, let me know in the video if it is. I'm sure it's got a super technical name, but it's quite tasty. It's very citrusy, that's nice. And a good little tang to it. We've just seen a really big scrub bull with the drone down on this spring system. He looks really nice, big brown brindle thing, really wide horn. So we're going to put a bit of a stalk in and see if we can get in on it. But the downside is, you probably can't tell behind me, but everything is super tall in here. This is going to be a bit of a tough one. How's this absolute stonker of a scrub bull? It's been a really niggly stalk down in here. We spotted him from the road way back there with the drone. We were just checking out a natural spring that runs down through this system. The grass in here is really long. We put a GPS pin on where the animal was, walked in on him only from a few hundred metres away and couldn't find it, which was really frustrating. And then a heap of cows popped out only about 15 metres in front of us. Very niggly, the wind wasn't amazing, so we've looked right back up around through that timber and come in about 150 metres down from where the cattle were. And this big fella walked straight up on us from about 10 yards. So yeah, all happened a little bit quickly. All I had time to do was chuck the camera at bucket and say, push record, and the rest is history. So he's really wide. I don't know if you can see how big he is there, big brindly brown thing. Massive animals, these scrub bull, but they do a lot of damage, so great ones to get out of the area. That certainly worked out all right. I'm going to walk back out and try and get the car into him, and that's all I'll show you on that. People get a little bit confused with these wild scrub bull and want to know why we shoot them. The version I'll tell you is there is an entire TV show called Outback Ringers. Go and watch that and you'll hear about the damage that they do in a lot better format than I can share, but just know that they are a problem. They are wild. They're not a rattle the feed bucket animal. I did have a lady tell me that once when I was here last year. Utter fool. But anyway, that's all right. We won't let Barbara get to us. I'm sure she's lovely. But yeah, awesome animals to hunt. Very, very spooky. You can't get anywhere near them with a car, let alone an aircraft. So I'm stoked with that fella. We're back in today at Tipperary Station, just refitting, refueling, grabbing some more gear, having a little bit of a feed. One thing I did want to touch on is just the scale of this property. Now, it's huge. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of huge properties in the Northern Territory, but I do believe that there are none that have got the infrastructure that is out here. It's like a military base. There's buildings everywhere, asphalt roads, mangoes, palm trees, ponds. The runway, 2.1 kilometres long. It's rated for a 737, which is insane. The military have historically trained out here. The place is epic. I cannot put it any other way. Some of the areas that we're accessing, it is beautiful out here. I do hope that the footage does purvey that. This particular station, back in its peak day, it had around 180 employees, which is just crazy. It's a bloody Mahindra there. Far out. I wonder who drives that. It must be a contractor. Surely the boss wouldn't drive that one. The food, I'm going to go home fat. I'll be really honest there. It's amazing how they provide for the people out here, and that experience certainly flows through to the 5-star guiding that they are trying to set up. So if that is of something of interest to you, to come somewhere very iconic in the outback, so to speak, because it's certainly remote out here, but you don't want to live in a dusty, shitty tent and still be able to shoot buffalo and pigs and all the stuff that's out here. It's certainly somewhere that's worth considering. I've got about 80 deer out in this clearing in front of me. I can't see any huge stags. There's a couple of decent ones, but I'm looking for a bigger one, so I'll continue to view them, see what they might do, but at the moment it's just going to be an observe thing. These deer are super hard to hunt down in all this timber. It's quite noisy and they're very, very twitchy deer. There's a lot of ears and eyes in here and it's very hard to get in on them, but it's great fun. I can hear the deer up in front of me, which is quite unique. They're sort of whistling, yelling. They sound a little bit like a monkey, if I'm completely honest. We've just seen an absolute cracker of a Chital stag up on this timberline up here, as you can see behind me with the sun. I don't have a very big window time-wise, so I'm going to duck in along this tree line here up in front of me and see if I can get something done in a very limited time window, so wish me luck. Wow, these are definitely very spooky little deer. Who'd have thought that I'd come to the Northern Territory and take a Chital deer, or overseas a lot of the time they're known as axis deer. So they've certainly got a lot of species here at Territory Lodge. It's an amazing place. These are such a cool deer species. I'd have to say they're probably the prettiest that I've ever seen. The stags have got like a really nice white mark under their neck, and look at the backdrop right on sunset. Absolutely stunning out here. There are some bigger deer here that have been seen, but this one's around 30 inches at a guess, so it's still a very respectable trophy, and I'm absolutely stoked to have come up here and had the opportunity to take one of these animals. We've just spotted a really good buffalo bull up here on a big billabong waterhole, but only problem is there's quite a sizable creek between us and that animal, so fingers crossed we can get over there. Won't be dodgy at all, only full of crocodiles like everywhere else up here, but if we can get a low spot or somewhere with some logs or something, hopefully we can get over there. It's amazing how the country changes out here. We've just transitioned into a whole heap of termite mound, much drier land with spring-fed creeks, so not as much timber, but it's pretty cool to see. Oh, we'll get over down here. We've got these buffalo up in front of us here, that nice bull. They're just over the roll though, on the edge of the water, so we can see the upper, say 2/3 of their body, which isn't too bad. They're about 150 metres away. They're generally coming in this direction, so we're just going to hold up here near these couple of trees and just see if they feed this way. We've got to get positive ID on the right animal to start with, which is a bit hard when their heads are down in the grass, and we'll see what we can do. The buffalo were down in this little bit of a depression here. He was up near one of these termite mounds. Didn't go very far. Another really cool hunt on this buffalo bull. We spotted him from about 600 metres on the other side of the creek with the drone. We've managed to get across the water, through all of this long plains grass, into about 150 metres, wind on our nose, and they fed into this bit of a depression. So we've made the decision to sneak forward a couple of termite mounds, get a little bit closer. Not a huge amount of cover other than grass, but it all seemed to pan out all right. The first round, I pumped into him on that termite nest behind us, and he's made it about 20 metres. I keep generally shooting until they fall over. They are a very big animal, and it's not worth the risk, especially with not a lot of cover. So super stoked with this guy. Another fantastic trophy. Having an awesome time out here. We've just found another scrub bull across this creek over here. I'm going to poke in on him, see if Bucket lends me that 9.3 again. I'll slam a couple of those big Norma rounds into him. Do you want to get out of his nose so we can look, because it's pretty scrubby here. How's this scrub bull? Another one found with the drone. I actually chased him a little bit with it over on the other side of this waterhole, and he moved in towards where we were parked up in the vehicle, so it was a pretty simple duck across the creek, stalking through all of this heavy brush, and shot him from about 60 metres, I'd say. It might not have even been that far. I wasn't paying all that much attention. Very cool little scene with a water buffalo walking across behind him just before I pulled the trigger. I pumped 2 rounds into his vitals. Pretty exciting. Really happy with this guy. Back behind us, there's about 30 other buffalo that have just fed out. No big fellas there, so we're going to move on to somewhere else and have a look around while we're out here. It's very, very pretty though. I don't know if this camera's picking that up, but it's full of butterflies down in here. There you go. Very pretty. I'm using the drone so much out here. The environment and diversity is just amazing to film and look at from that elevated position. We've got wild scrub cattle out on our right here over a whole heap of termite mounds. the other side of this waterway there's a big billabong with buffalo in it, so it is very, very cool. Bucket has laid down the gauntlet that I should weaponise the drone with the 9.3, but I don't think that's possible. Might be fun if it was though. We're just back at the side-by-side after shooting that brown scrub bull, and we've got more buffalo out here. There's animals everywhere. It's pretty awesome. As I stand here looking like an absolute grub, I just want to give a big call out to the supporter of these Northern Territory videos this year, and that is Beretta Australia. So I am running a Tikka wild boar chambered in 308 and a Seiko 85, which is buckets, in 9.3 by 62. Both of those we're running Norma ammunition in. I must say that 9.3 has been fantastic on all the animals that we've shot with it so far. I really enjoy the cartridge actually, which surprised me. Last year we used a 375, that was amazing as well, but this 9.3, it certainly surprised me. Nothing to say there about the 308, they just work. Bulk ammunition, and those Norma rounds, well, they kill pigs very nicely. We've just seen a heap of buffalo down on this swamp, so we're going to cut down through this timber. We won't muck around too much because we don't have a lot of light left. We've just walked around this swamp edge. I've just cracked probably 120 kilo boar. Then we've just had some wild cattle run in on us, and I've just cracked a really nice scrub bull straight between the eyes with the 308 standing in the same spot. Oh. Now I'll come in here. Holy shit, we knew that there were buffalo out in this swamp, that's why we walked in there. No surprise to run into a big pig in the Northern Territory, but this guy is an absolute stonker. The scrub bull, 20 metres that way. I'll pan around and show that. The plan was to drag this guy over to the scrub bull, but I don't know if you can see the sweat dripping off my nose. This pig is bloody heavy. We reckon he's about 120 kilos plus. Live weight, twitching a little bit, still nerves. Got a hole straight through the side of his neck and spine from the 308, so that Tikka wild boar is certainly living up to its name. I'm not going to lie, the mosquitoes, they're a little bit hungry in here, so we won't muck around too long. He's a very nice scrub bull. This guy broken off on that side. Big rough horns on him. Bullet hole's probably about 10 mil off centre, but seemed to do with the trick with the 308. I don't know if I'd recommend to heaps of people to use a 308 to shoot these wild bulls, but at that range, I'm pretty confident to do it. So yeah, stoked to get this big guy. There's a lot of meat on these animals, so we better make a phone call and get some stuff done before it gets dark. I know the whole Northern Territory has an abundance of game, but there's certainly a lot of animals here. We've seen a hell of a lot of buffalo out on that flat with the drone, and we didn't even get to them before we hit pigs and scrub bull, so very exciting afternoon. dead set. I thought I missed that first shot. The pig walked behind the tree after I fired. Number one. Number two. There you go. This buffalo bull here, he does not want to move off the track. I do believe this is Bucket's moment. He's been waiting for this to get out and go and do the crocodile Dundee thing. Yeah?
No.
Oh. The station we're shooting on up here, it's massive. There's lots of hours in travel around between the locations that we are hunting on. It's very scenic. The environment does change a lot. You can go from really dry, arid country straight into a billabong or a spring-fed creek. Absolutely beautiful with palm trees and wildlife everywhere. It's certainly a highlight of the trip for me. We're just down on the edge of the floodplain and we've found some pigs not too far off the edge with the drone. So what we're going to do is put one of the property workers on the drone controller. Bucket and I are going to walk out on those pigs, see what we can clean up. You alright if I just shoot? Well, there you go. That should be pretty cool. Drone recorded footage of two blokes on the ground shooting. So Bucket shot 9, I shot 8. I did drop 1 shot. Bucket dropped none. So he's obviously better than me. Young Bucket there, he's got about the mood of the scene. Water across our path here. And up there, we've just seen an absolute stonker of a buffalo bull. 3 groups of pigs and another big group of buffalo. And we just cannot get up there at all. There's we went for a bit of a walk along there to see if we could pass through, and there's quite a large crocodile slide, so we've made the decision that probably even standing here is a bad idea. We've just spotted some pigs up here with the drone on the edge of this big billabong water system, so we're going to walk along the edge and see how far out there we might be able to get without being eaten by one of these big crocodiles. Hopefully get a few shots off.
Left, left. Looking straight at us.
Cranky. Listen to it. Yeah. We managed to get a few of those pigs, but they did smell us, which was a little bit annoying. The wind's really shifty down in here. Most of them are out in all of that long swampy stuff with water. Not going out there. We're up in this spot called the Lost City. No, not in Litchfield National Park. Private land, and the pigs live up in these caves. How cool is that? Up under all those rocks there. It's very, very cool temperature wise down in here. So we're going to go for a poke up through there and loop back around through there to get that wind right. See if we can come on anything. We're just driving down this road here and there's a water point up here and we've seen a big dark scrub bull run off it. We've been told to look out for those guys, so go for a little bit of a walk and see if we can catch up with it. Look at me. Hey! These are big animals. We've been asked in here if we see any feral cattle, aka scrub bulls, to take them out. This fella's copped a brain shot from a 150 grain Norma soft point. Certainly did the ticket on him. He's a big animal. He's probably a 900 kilo beast, that fella. Very big animal. A lot of meat on him too. Look at the rolls of fat on this thing's neck. They are a massive animal. Covered in dust. He's had a bit of a bath in that. I'm pretty excited. We've just had a phone call from Pirate at Finnis Rivers Helicopters. He's got a client and they've invited me to go along. Be mad to say no. We're going to fly out onto those big floodplains, locate some pigs, drop down and exit the aircraft, stalk in and try and shoot some pigs. Now if that doesn't sound like a whole bunch of fun, I don't know what is. Very keen for this one. one out there. Oh, mint!
Squeeze. Reload the back one on his front shoulder. Take it. Reload. Swing the tripod around. That's it. Go the front one now. The front one's down.
What do you think of your first floodplain feral pig?
Oh, it was pretty cool, hey?
Pretty cool.
I'd love to do it again already.
Oh, right. Well,
Still living on a high.
Nice. I reckon we'll figure something out. Excellent.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
If we can get back to the helicopter without being killed by all this mimosa brush, we'll be right. It's jabbing into us everywhere. That is heaps of fun out on that floodplain. It's quite surreal to get dropped off, walk in about 200 metres and shoot a bunch of pigs. I'll pan around and show you what we're walking through. It's not real easy, and it's even harder when you're trying to point a camera at your head. We're on a floodplain, so no surprise. There's pigs absolutely everywhere out here. Just been dropped off again. There's some more up here on the other side of some mangroves out in the water, so we'll go for a little bit of a stroll. Just a couple of pig prints through here as we move through the mangroves, eh? We certainly smoked those pigs. They didn't have a very good day at all, did they?
Oh no, not these ones.
We're just walking over to have a look at these pigs. We've just had another animal come out of the bush. It's a bloody monster of a boar. Have a look at this. I think that one can stay out there. It's probably food for the crocodiles, which I'm certain are out there. How cool was that? Right up there with one of the top experiences I've had while in the Northern Territory. that can put you on many animals. It can get you in on water buffalo, pigs. You see lots of crocodiles, obviously all the wildlife out over the floodplain. So if you are up here and you've got a limited time window and a little bit of money, well, you can come out and do this yourself. Contact Pirate down at Finnis River Helicopters, see what he has to say about it. We've pulled up here for lunch, Secret Spot 23 it's called. It's very, very nice. Big shout out to the cook at Tipperary, Wendy. She's made twister wraps. I know people commented there'll be no KFC out there. This is a little bit better. Fantastic. It's a really nice buffalo bull here that we've just shot. I'm trying to put my bino harness in front of the bad bits. It's like there's a garden hose going off down there, if I'm honest. That 9.3 absolutely smoked this animal. It walked in on us. Very curious, didn't have its wind right, so it just goes to show what can happen. Shot at around 25 metres, so like I said, I won't show any more of this animal. It's very graphic. We will do what we need to do with this trophy, and hopefully we can get out of here before it gets dark. I've had an amazing time up here in the Northern Territory, but everything has to come to an end. A few big shout outs in this video: David, Sue, Wendy, Shannon, TC, Clark, Sam and Pirate. Thank you for the amazing experience that I've had up here. I have to give a huge shout out to my good mate Bucket. These trips are not possible without you, and there's no one I'd rather spend it with doing the things that we get to do. Another huge shout out to my family back at home. It's a huge sacrifice for those guys to let me come away on these little edge of the outback shenanigans. Without the support, it wouldn't happen. I hope everyone have enjoyed the video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you do that. Hit the thumbs up button, share the video to a mate, and I'll see everyone next time. I'm gonna shoot that crow. I just wanted to give it It's going to die.